Hi, and happy Friday. I am so glad that it's a couple days of quiet rest before another busy holiday season begins. So, when you pop on, just say hi, let me know you're there, and a few things to chat about. I'm hoping that Bree will join because she did give me the inspiration for the inspiration and the suggestion for the last video. Let me turn it down. And it's done very well. So unless you guys tell me that, you know, like she had said that, asked if I knew that that was something specifically that people were looking for. And no, it's not. Hey Bree, did you hear me talking about you? I was just thanking you for the suggestion and the inspiration for the most recent video. It's done really, really well. I'm really pleased about that. Um, I know you did tell me, and that's just what I was saying is that that was something that really kind of surprised me. I didn't know that that many people were looking for that information. And if that's what I really, really need is for you guys to tell me, hey, we're looking for this, or this is what I think people will be interested in. It does help. Otherwise, all I'm filming is my life, mine and Dean's life around here and what we're up to. So I really don't go into my head to like create, content. It's just everyday real life around here. Hi, Carolyn from Mississippi. Are you guys still pretty warm over there? But also, and last week, I don't know, because I see that more than just Bree and Carolyn are on. Last week, my brother-in-law was on, but he did not make himself known. So, Chris, if you are on, say hi and let me know you're there. It's cold there today. In Mississippi, what do you consider cold? I'm just curious. Like in Virginia, the cold is different there because it is bone chilling cold when the humidity. But here I think we're staying pretty cold now. Low 40s. We're in the 20s at night. South Carolina. Hey Bree. Ooh, 27 this morning. You are cold. Yeah. I hear, from what I understand, everything I've read, that the East Coast is supposed to be getting a pretty serious winter this year. Um, I'm hoping for snow here. We need it. But so yeah, but Bree, thanks again. And I have a couple more ideas. If you have any more ideas, you guys, want to see something in particular, like I said, let me know and I will do it. Hey, Lynn, how are you? Oh, Carolyn, Mississippi may be getting flurries. I'm ready. I'm ready. I think we're finally ready around here too. Ooh, 25 in South Carolina. I'm thanks. I'm glad you're good, Lynn. It's been a tough day, but I'm still happy today, and we've been super busy, busy, busy around here. Um, we went to a friend's giving yesterday, and I hope that all of you guys had a great Thanksgiving and got to spend it with people that you love and had good food to eat and share. Um, Lynn, you and I both. I'm afraid. I'm wondering if we're going to get a lot of snow this year, or if it's just going to be kind of rainy, wet, yucky, mucky mess. Thank you, Bree. Dean, talking about the title of that video, Dean really thought that that was a good one too. Like I said, I don't come up with the titles until I'm editing. And, whereas maybe I'm doing things wrong. I don't know. But I mean, I don't plan anything out. I get these random ideas from time to time, or, I think about like, oh, I'm going to be doing, you know, canning this week. Why don't I go ahead and set up the camera? But, everything that you guys see is real life here. And then if you tell me something you're wanting to know, to see, here, I can kind of, we can kind of relate together on it. And yeah, I had no idea. And Bree, you were exactly right about, you guys know better than I do. Um, but pantry small places, that's a good one too. But yeah, it wasn't until I'm editing that I just wait for something to kind of pop in my head. And titles can be kind of hard because you just never know what is going to resonate with someone. So we are who we are. And I put it out there, and some hit and some don't, and some are late bloomers. So, but I love doing it. It really kind of, I hear a lot of people say that content creation is their job. It's not a job for me. Um, and I have fun with it, and it's a hobby, really. And it just started out um, wanting to show my parents, and friends what we were doing, and it's just grown organically. And Dean and I have made friends with all of you. Whether we're virtual or not, I still consider us friends. And so we just really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. Um, I was thinking, and Bree, you can tell me if you think this is a good idea or not. We've been so busy today, and we've been pulling things out of storage, out of another storage unit we have out here that was just random stuff that we brought with us from Virginia. And, I opened up a box of platters today, and I'm like, we haven't seen these in 3 years. And so I took out 2 Christmas ones and told Dean the rest go to Goodwill, stuff like that. But anyway, so a couple things I did bring in, like these huge bowls I totally forgot that I had for doing bread. And I thought, I'm going to have to clean out these cabinets in this island that Dean built. And because I don't have drawers in any of them, I have them organized differently than what probably a lot of people have their cupboards organized. So I did not know if cabinet organization, because I even have my pans and stuff done differently so that they'll all fit, because since that's all that I have is that one wall cabinet, the one floor cabinet, and the island, and that's it. So didn't know if that would be of interest to anyone, seeing how I've organized those cupboards or how you do yours. I just mentioned on the last video that I hang the mugs underneath. We have, I don't know what it is, an affinity for coffee mugs. And when we left Virginia, this is no lie, I laugh because it's so embarrassing. We had over 50 coffee mugs. Granted, I had a little table in the dining room with our little coffee setup and all that, but 50 coffee mugs for 2 adults. It's ridiculous. So, we went through and kept 10, but yeah.
The whole case downstairs in the work office.
A whole case of coffee mugs?
Yep. Big box spoons are coming.
You're kidding. Dean just let me know that in that storage building that there is a box of coffee mugs. See, we said that we were going to keep the ones that meant the most to us. And we did. And they're hanging up. And we kept a couple of them. They were in the trailer when we traveled out here. And we lived in our trailer. And then my good friend Julie sent me one, I think last year. And so it's up there. But anyway, I feel like I'm going off on a tangent. Okay, good, Lynn. All right, thanks for letting me know that. I will I will go ahead and I wrote that down so that I wouldn't forget. And then somebody, as a result of that video that Bree inspired, someone asked me if I had room, I guess because other videos I've mentioned that I sew and quilt and crochet and stuff like that, if I had room in here to do my crafting. And I said, that I've basically transformed our travel trailer into my little craft room, my little craft shop, my little space. So I didn't know if anybody would be interested in seeing that small space. Anyway, I thought your 10 were too many. They probably are. But yeah. I told you we have I don't know what it is. We have a thing for coffee mugs. And let's see. Dean and I both have gotten one since we've been here. Julie sent me one. And at the flea market, this lady who does pottery, she was there and she had all these mugs for sale, $5 each. And it's because she brought them there because she thought they were ugly, that they were all the cast-offs that she didn't want or like. So she was selling them dirt cheap. And it took everything in my power not to get more than one, but Dean bought me one. So, yes. But we've been pulling stuff out. Christmas decorations getting ready to go up. And take all the fall ones down. Man, that didn't seem to last too long. But yeah, so we went to a Friendsgiving yesterday, which was super, super nice. That's not normally how we do things, but I made homemade stuffing and they wanted me to bring green bean casserole. I just hate that stuff, but I did it. I don't think it's really cooking, but we did. And I'm so glad we got invited because it was hard just getting those two things done. So it was just super nice. They had like 18 people there. And, I thanked her again for inviting us because we would have had a very sad little Thanksgiving here, just the two of us, with me hobbling around like I am. But did I get any questions in the comments? Are you talking about the video about the big pantry, small spaces? If so, I did get some questions. And let me look on my phone to see. I actually had quite a few. And I also had some suggestions too. A couple compliments. I thought it said 14. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing. 2, 4, 6, including my responses, it was 6. There was someone that suggested pull-out drawers on the outside wall that goes under the stairway, where the pantry narrows. Dean and I were talking about that today at lunch. And I told him about that. I said, there was someone that suggested on our stairs, like I guess having a hook or something there where you could pull up, because way back in that corner is where I keep the leaves to this dining room table, and just some extra jars and stuff. But if I could lift up one of the stair surfaces, then I could get back in there a lot easier. So that was one of the things. And he's like, it's just something we didn't think about. If we had thought about it, we would have done that. And then on that wall going up the stairs, there's no wall socket. So we rely on this motion sensor light to go down the stairs, which didn't come on last year and I fell. But yeah, that's another thing. But I had that suggestion. And then just compliment, just stating that we've gotten a lot done since we've been here. This lady's been with us from the get-go. She joined really early, and she was talking about her downsizing from 2,500 square feet to 827. I can't imagine. Sometimes we're 1,100 square feet, and days like today, I'm overwhelmed because just pulling that stuff out and seeing it on the porch, it's just like what most of it was framed pictures of like the kids and stuff when they were babies, and stuff like that I'm not ever going to part with. But instead of having them in frames and hanging them all over the house here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get one of those large photo albums, and I'm going to put those like 8x10 pictures in there. So that way, it'll be condensed. I'll still have them and be able to look at them really freely. And that last comment was yours, Bree. So. Yeah, Lynn, it's the same way for us, that Thanksgiving is the kickoff to the Christmas season. And I used to, like, with the kids, I used to wait till like the first week of December. And then it was always the first week of December. And then when it became just the kids and myself, we did it right after Thanksgiving just to kind of cheer us up that year. And so it just kind of stuck, so that every Thanksgiving night after our meal, we would watch Christmas Vacation. And my daughter loved that and became a tradition. And that was the kickoff to Christmas. And it still is. So today, I've only taken down what you see behind me. There's a few little there's my candles are the only thing that's out. And I still have fall leaves at the top. That's all I could do today, because I've just been washing things up that I did bring in from storage. The video organizing in small spaces. That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, yeah, the heat in my closet. Okay, it was hard to see, to visualize. The wood stove, and then we have the wall behind it, and I've got that wall hanging there. That's a shared wall, of course, with the inside of that pantry. And the logs make a great insulation. We have a built-in heat shield on the back of our wood stove box. So the wall behind it doesn't even get warm from the wood stove. And or else I wouldn't be hanging, a quilted wall hanging there. But in the closet, that wall is where let me think of the name of it, the vacuum cleaner and the mop bucket are. It's actually the other side of the closet. So the spices aren't up against that shared wall anyway, but it stays pretty cool in there. I've been real tickled with that. This house is super insulated. When we were having the wood stove installed, the guy even kind of complained about it because the pipe goes all the way up through that cathedral ceiling, that huge, and he said he's never seen so much insulation in his life. And so we were having dinner with the contractor who built this place, and he laughed because he said, "Yeah, it's super insulated." Oh, the answers. My tomatoes don't freeze. Nothing out in that shed freezes. Um, it's got a full solid floor and foundation underneath. Dean's actually has, you could probably see in the video, he's moved it, but he has the insulation ready to insulate the walls. But the canned goods, I don't put my glass jars out there because I was worried about that. But the canned goods, they've never frozen. I don't know the rationale behind that, but they just haven't. Nothing has out there. The water, that we keep stored out there, that's out there, it hasn't frozen. Um, see, was there anything else on that? Bree, it sounds like you've got your stuff set up pretty well, pretty organized. What we're also going to do, this hideous looking shoe rack thing that we've had in here since the day we moved in, we're going to get it out of here and put it in the back bedroom. And then Dean's going to build like a cubby where it'll look a lot nicer. And we can put our shoes in there, the shoes that we have to have by the door. It just, we have to have shoes by the door. It's just, I don't want to walk across these floors with shoes that we come in from outside. Oh, I know. I reminded myself this week to write down a few things when they popped into my head to see if you guys were in the least bit interested. If you are, that's great. If you're not, don't worry about it. The thing that came to my mind, is that I was pulling out stuff to do Christmas cards. And I didn't know if you guys would be interested in just doing like a circle of Christmas cards. Just if you're interested in doing that, that you could just email me your mailing information, your mailing address. And then the people who were interested in doing that, I would go ahead and email everybody the list of people's names, and we could do a Christmas card thing. And I would send one out to everybody that wants to participate. Also, I thought it would be fun because last year I got a lot of Christmas cards from just different places, and the doorway above the loft was just covered. I just, taped them up there, was all around the doorway. So I thought, since I had this banner over top of our front door, that I would do kind of like a jute cord, and hang all the Christmas cards that we get, and I could share them. But just let me know that if you're interested, and you can just, I'll share my email address, and we can do that. You have your dehydrator in the garage. So you keep your dehydrator set up year round? You probably can in South Carolina. There's just, mine sits on the counter all summer long because I'm dehydrating like crazy. But now there's nothing to dehydrate. And so I just keep mine in that building out there. And then I have the roasting pan in here now. I think it's a 21 quart because I'm just constantly making broth. It seems like. Oh, me too, Lynn. That's why I wanted to do that. Thank you. I would love to exchange Christmas. I love Christmas cards, period. I love sending them. I love getting them. I think it's just a little extra something special. So I will post in the comments on the page, the YouTube channel underneath. I think it says posts. My email address, and I will, yeah, I'll do that there. So that's where it'll be. I want to see what it's called. It is posts. Okay. And, that's where I put up a couple little things from time to time, but that's where I will put up my email address. And then you just email me your mailing address. And then by next week, I will send it out to everybody who wants to participate, and we'll go ahead and do that. I think that'd be a lot of fun. You're right. Mail by hand is almost a lost art. Um, isn't it amazing that it seems like our generation, um, I look older than I am. I realize that, but I am Generation X. And it's like our generation is the last where all of that kind of stuff stops, and I started thinking about it, and my kids never knew a time in their life without technology of some sort. I did not allow them to have cell phones until they were 13. But then it became a must because they weren't going to after school care anymore. Um, yeah, but they've always had like VCRs and, stuff like that. And we never had that kind of stuff. And we did always do mail by hand and thank you notes and stuff like that. My kids like to get mail when they were little. I still send them cards all the time. And they seem to like it, but I don't think I don't know if anybody in that generation or millennials, I don't know. Millennials may still send out Christmas cards. I don't know. Oh, good, Bree. You want to do the cards too? I'm so excited. That just makes me so happy. I because I usually get Christmas cards like at the end of the season, and then I had some from last season, but I needed some more. And I got them at Walmart, and I got like a box of 35 for like $4. I think the postage is the most expensive thing. And so I know stuff's expensive. I know things are tight. And, so even if my mom a lot of times has these cards laying around that she gets from, oh, I don't know where she gets them from, to be honest with you. She gets all kinds of stuff in the mail like that, and she uses them. So I mean, it doesn't have to be anything extra, just whatever you have laying around. Um, Lynn, you're not that much older than me, Lynn. My uncle, he refuses to have a cell phone as well. Um, they don't have landlines out here, and the only way that we even have phone service is voice over internet. Um, so that the time that our internet went down, we had no phone service, nothing, no TV, nothing. So that was real interesting. We were back to reading books, and I was crocheting a lot and going into town. I enjoyed having the internet, um, so that I can do stuff like this. Um, but the cell phone is kind of a danger. At night, usually, I would crochet if I would sit upstairs with Dean and he was watching television or a movie or something, and I would crochet. Now it's like I don't even feel like it. And but you pick this thing up and you start playing a game or you start scrolling, mindlessly scrolling, and you look up and an hour or two have gone by. It's crazy. So usually what I do is I put my earbuds in and I just turn it on some music that I like on YouTube, a couple channels, and I just listen to the music and put it away because it is a huge time suck otherwise. I use YouTube as like my my shows. There's a couple channels that I follow and I use their videos as my shows. It's kind of funny. Your roasting pan is in the garage. Yeah, mine stays out. It's funny. I interchange them. The dehydrator comes in the spring, and the roasting pan goes out. And if I didn't need either one of them, that would be great. I mean, like the roasting pan in here because it does take up a lot of room. Oh, Bree, you quilt also. Yay. Um, are you working on anything in particular? What do you like? Like, what style do you like to quilt? I am a big scrappy type person. I love a good scrappy quilt. I had some, I love it though. And the banner that I made for fall that's above the door, um, it was so much fun just using the scrap pieces out of my stash. Maybe I need to do a video of the trailer and kind of show all my stuff. At the old house, that is one thing I do miss. At the old house, I had a sewing room and it had been my son's bedroom. And when he left home, I was so sad. And I mean, I just shut the door down there, and it was in our downstairs. And I didn't go in there for like 2 or 3 weeks. And Dean kept telling me, go in that room and make it your sewing room because I had baskets of stuff just everywhere. And I didn't want to do it. And he says, it'll make you happy. And so I went ahead, went down there, and there was a bunch of built-in bookshelves on either wall. And let me tell you, I loved that little room because I had all my fabric, wrapped and standing up on those shelves, and then I had all my yarn, sorted to color and on the shelves. And my son came home one day and he says, "I didn't know you were going to turn my bedroom into a Joann's store, but I was able to have everything, a lot of space and everything set up. It was just a lot of fun." But I'm really happy. The trailer is a great spot too for me because, I've got the coffee pot there and everything, the, little microwave and um, everything right there. And so, I could take a break and on the little sofa, I could take a break and have a snack and have coffee or whatever, and then get back to sewing on the table. But Bree, we pick everything up at the post office. Nothing comes. We are way, way too far out. Down our road, we actually have a bank of mailboxes. They're kind of like the mailboxes that you would see back like in the apartment complexes. And we just get junk there. But it's like on the side of the highway, what I call a highway. It's a 2-lane road. And but it's a main road, and so we just have a post office box. We've always done that, and we get everything sent to the post office in the next town over. Do mostly wall hangings. We had 6 bedrooms. Oh my god! Now I have 1 bedroom. Yeah, that was us. We didn't have 6 bedrooms. We had 5. We had 5 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, a den downstairs and upstairs. It was too much. It was just thinking about it exhausts me. It was so stressful. When the kids were home, It was great, everybody had their own space, and it just seemed full. And when the kids left home, it was just crazy, to have that much stuff, and I'm glad we downsized, um, but it's hard too. It's hard because there's been some things that we even looked at today and we're like, "Why in the world did we bring this with us?" And one box, God, it's so embarrassing. I think I just lost my mind by the time we, moved, and it was so crazy. It was a crazy time that I look back on it, and, um, one of those boxes, I opened it up, and I guess I was wanting to protect a couple of the pictures that were in there, and, there was a whole thing of, um the big kind that you get from Sam's of toilet paper and 2 rolls of paper towels, and then I had a really nice set of guest towels that I had from the guest bathroom at the old house. I totally forgotten about them. So I was like, my one in, one out rule, though. I was like, "You know what? These are really nice towels. I wanna keep them." So I'm bringing them in the house and washing them, but one of our old towels and an old hand towel and washcloth, they're going away. So that's our one in, one out rule. And I'm sticking with it because that's how we accumulated so much stuff. Dean had a ton of stuff anyway. He had a ton of stuff anyway. He had a lot of hobbies and, but then adding the kids' stuff and my stuff, my hobbies, it was just a nightmare. Quilts for charities. My very first quilt, I've only been quilting 6 years, something like that. My very first quilt was for charity for a little boy, and it was just the coolest quilt, and it was a little scrappy on the front side with those Caterpillar, trucks and stuff, and then on the back, it actually I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but they used to have these area rugs for little kids, and it looked like a road, and it would have, like, places for cars and stuff to park, little boys could run their cars on the road. We had one, and, so I found a quilt back, a panel like that, and so I went ahead and, I made that first one was for charity, and let me tell you what, I learned the hard way, because I had used white thread and, I picked it out because I didn't want it showing up on the black road. So I used what they called invisible thread. I hope I never have to use that stuff again. It was like sewing with fishing wire. And I take that back. My very, very first quilt, I take that back. My very, very first quilt was for my daughter. When each of them graduated from high school, they got a special gift. And, my son left home right after high school. I didn't want him to, but he did. And so he got a special gift, and then my daughter, I made her a quilt, and I used, a 9 patch, but it was of all the things that she loved, as a little girl. Like, she was a Girl Scout and, the Disney princesses, and she had a T-shirt, um, from when she was in preschool, and I cut her little picture out off the T-shirt, and then her little cheerleading shirt, I cut out the piece, and then, I had the little sleeper that I brought her home in, and it had a bunny on it, and it was like a bunny applique, and so I cut it out, broke my heart, but I did it. But I cut out the bunny applique, and then I hand sewed it on to her quilt. She loved it. She still has it. She's taken that thing everywhere with her. So that's really special to me too, that she loves it like that. Yeah. Um, so I have a wall hanging that I want to do for Christmas. I found the panel when I was setting up down there, and it's of a Christmas. It has a black backdrop, but there's this beautiful red cardinal on it, and red cardinals were my grandmother's favorite. And so it reminded me of her, and it's sitting like on a snowy branch, just real pretty. But I would like to say I'll get it done. I have two other things I'm working on, and I haven't made it out there. I have not been out there to sew the whole month of November. I think that's right, but I need to get out there and do that. Oh, I wanted to let you guys know, since I'm doing this, I did the huge, for us, Azure haul in October, and so far so good, that we're not running out of stuff. What I gauged was pretty much spot on. There are some things that I don't have anything in backup anymore, like cinnamon, that kind of was like, I always like to have one in reserve. So, you know, but I have that 1 pound container. Those containers hold 1 pound. So I have that, and I know I won't go through it, but it still makes me a little nervous. Yes, I did make the one behind the wood stove. I finished that in September. I went through a time out here. I get, now that I don't live in town, and our town Charlottesville was growing by leaps and bounds. It was just not the place for us to be anymore. But I mean, I just get exhausted being in town, and come home, and I don't know, I made a video, a really short one, and it was just done to music, no talking. And it was when the noise gets too loud. And that thing was back in September. And I was having a little bit of a challenging time back in September. And so I just kind of holed up in the trailer and did some sewing. And because that's always so therapeutic, just to get, some sewing, work with your hands, sewing, and the garden for me, do it. So I was able to get that wall hanging done in a weekend. So I was real tickled about that. You got your stitches out today. Good for you. Wow, you're coming along really quickly. I'm glad you're doing so well. You're going to be ready for that canning. So is your order going to be coming next week? Because I know I still was just looking at my account, my Azure account, and because I have been on there and I have been adding things into my cart, so that when we're ready to do an order again, I'll be ready to go with, some things that I want to refill, like the cinnamon, but also some things that just I want to try. Like there was somebody I was watching their Azure haul, and she got a pair of their organic cotton socks, and she was like, they are fantastic. Well, I got their organic cotton leggings. I got those last year or the year before, and they have held up so well. I love those things. They keep me so warm, and they are so soft. They are the best things ever. And I paid a little more for them than you do the leggings, like if you go to Walmart. When I was at my mom's house this past summer, we were in Food Lion of all places, and they had a little section where like they were discontinuing stuff, and they had some leggings in there, the brand Just My Size. And so I got them because they were like $3. I'm not going to turn away leggings for $3, but they're not the same. They're not quite as soft, but gosh, those Maggie's organic cotton full-size leggings, they go down to your ankle. I don't like the mid-calf ones. They are so nice. So I'm saying all that to say that I have some socks in my cart that I'm going to try. week of the 13th. I think that's probably, um, mine's probably would have been a little later because it did say the closeout for me was on the 11th of December. I do miss it. I don't do Azure hauls at all. My brother-in-law, and if he's on here and not telling me, I'm going to be mad this time. Um, he asked me one time, he says, do you do your Azure hauls a lot of times, the size of them or whatever, based upon your videos, doing them to make a video? And never, ever, ever. Um, it's all stuff that we need, that we use, that we store. And then I get some goodies. I've gotten some pans from time to time, or the leggings, or um, I've gotten some other things. But anyway, um, stuff for the kitchen. Yeah. So it's just, I like shopping there. You're allergic to wool, but everyone raves about the wool socks from Azure. Yeah, I know. I'm always wondering about them because, like, if it's scratchy, or I don't like scratchy wool stuff, but wool socks, it'd be nice. I had a pair out here that I got in Silverton, Colorado, and it is a little over 9,000 feet in altitude up there, and you want some wool socks. And Dean and I were spending some time up there, and I got some there, but they only lasted me like 2 seasons, and then I got a hole in them. And I have a thing about holes in socks. Um, I don't I don't darn them. I send them away. Dean, I have to look at him and say, throw those socks away. It is time. It is past time. And then he came in, I don't know what he was doing, but it had been wet outside or something. And his socks were literally black on top from his shoe. And as soon as he took them off, I said, don't you dare throw those things in my washing machine. Throw them in the trash. And but I love socks. Another thing, coffee mugs and socks. Dean went to Arizona last year. He has a cousin that lives there, and he went with, and I didn't go, and he came back and brought me socks, and he could not get over just how tickled I was. I just love socks. Lynn says, if it's merino wool, it's not scratchy. I just bought myself 2 merino wool tops, and they are awesome and soft. Ooh, I bet they're nice and warm. That would be nice. So you guys tell me what you're up to. I have been prattling on this whole time. When do you start decorating for the holidays? Do you decorate for the holidays? I didn't even take into account that some people may not do Christmas. What are your plans? I always like to hear what other people do. Oh, and then when I bought that 1-pound bag of cinnamon sticks from Azure, I'm telling you, you wouldn't think that a 1-pound bag would be so big, full of cinnamon sticks, but it's huge. But there was a lady who said for me to put some in a jar and give them as a gift. And I was thinking, and then my friend Julie, she was telling me to, put some in a pot with some oranges and lemons. I've done that before, and kind of just making like a simmer pot for the house. Well, what I did is I took like 4 cinnamon sticks and some whole cloves that I have, and some whole allspice, and I put it in the kettle that sits on our wood stove, and it smelled so nice. So I was thinking about doing some simmer pots on a video, because I'm going to do some stuff like that this year for gifts. I've made blackberry jam, and I made jellied cranberry sauce and canned it. And I have some peach barbecue sauce. I just figured I would kind of like make a little trio of stuff. I've got some other berries to do, like strawberries and raspberries to do more jam. I don't know. I just like homemade gifts. I like, if I get a gift, I like homemade stuff. My son, and it's really strange. He's an old soul, always has been. He is going on 26, and it is like he is going on 46. But he'll say to me, I'm like, what do you want for Christmas? And he'll always tell me, nothing. I have everything I need. And I'm like, well, you're getting something for Christmas. He's like, well, Mom, don't get me a gift card. He said, anybody can go out and, give you a gift card or money or something. He said, I like it when you make me something. And he says, because it takes a lot of thought. And so one year, it was the year before we moved, I crocheted him a great big blanket for his bed, and he really liked that. And so I'm going to work on some things for him. And we're supposed to be getting a visit from him. I talked to him Thanksgiving. I talked to him yesterday, but I talked to him last week, Dean. Dean and I talked to him, and he's going to be coming out for a visit after sometime after Thanksgiving is all he told me. Now I'm guessing it's going to be around the middle of December. His biological father, his birthday is the first week of December, and then his death date is 3 days after his birthday, the first week of December. So their family usually, does something. And so I'm thinking he will probably want to be there for that. But if he comes after that, I just can't. I would love to see. I can't wait to see him. He's such a sweet boy. Man, they're always our babies. So that is about all the updates I had. But Bree, I've got your idea for the title down, and I'm going to use it because you are spot on. And I will do that. The small space storage. So I might as well go ahead and just call it for the evening. I am so happy you guys popped on day after Thanksgiving. I know a lot of people are traveling and a lot of people just are busy. So it really is special that you pop on here and spend some time with me. I do appreciate it. I look forward to it. And I'm writing things down so I don't forget. But yeah. So thank you for joining tonight. Again, I'm going to post my email address on the posts section on our YouTube channel. And that way you can email me your mailing address, and I will have it to mail you a card. And then the first week of December, I will email everybody that sends me their email address. So when you email me with your information, just include, your name and your mailing address. Of course, I'll have your email address. And then what I will do the first week of September is I will just put together a list of however many people participate. And then I will email that out to just those people that sent me an email saying they'd like to participate. So yes, Lynn, you best go get supper on. You guys, you don't want a hangry hubby there. It's always a pleasure to see you two. Thanks for spending time with me. No, organizing in small spaces for my next one. Organizing in small spaces. That's going to be it. Thank you, Bree. Thank you, everyone, for joining tonight. I appreciate it. It's good to visit with all of you. Take care. Good night. And I will see you on the next one.